Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. It's been a while since I uploaded, but we ain't here to discuss my crappy schedule. That's future Charlie's issue. No, today we're here to discuss my story. My story of when I first discovered I was suffering from depression and anxiety to, well, now, and how it still controls my life on a day-to-day basis. So if you didn't know, November is of course Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, and this month has been very strange for me personally, like mentally wise and just on Twitter, cause usually we have like uproars of support, everyone telling their stories, people saying, oh, we sympathise with you guys, blah blah, but nothing this month. I know that there has been some tweets, but not a lot has been said this month, and it's really fucking strange to me. So I thought, I know it's a bit late, but I wanted to make sure this video was as good as fucking humanly possible, how I could explain myself to my audience, to everyone, to hopefully get others to speak their stories. But we are finally here, and you won't just hear my stories, no, you'll also hear other men's stories. So please, if you do want to support men's mental health or us speaking our minds about our mental health, stay to the very end, because we need your support more than ever. So get yourself a cup of joe or a nice tea, relax, and let's start this story from the very beginning. It all started when I was 13 years old. So I came from a broken home, really. So it kind of messes with your mind and your health a lot. So having an absent father and a mentally ill mother, my mental health, little by little, started to deplete. It was already in ruins when my family split apart, but it just got worse as I aged and got a bit older. But being young and confused, I had no clue who to turn to during this strange time in my life, which caused my depression and suicidal tendencies to start growing at an alarming rate. Every day getting harder than the last, every day feeling like I have to battle my body to want to wake up, to want to continue living this pathetic life, until a fateful day. After school, my depression was at its highest peak, the worst I've had in a long time when I was a kid. So I didn't have when I first had depression, this was the peak. This was, I didn't know what I wanted to do with myself. I did not know whether I was coming or going. So everything around me hurt, and I knew I couldn't continue. So while I was walking home with two close friends, I started to snap. Every fibre in my very soul, my body, did not want to continue living this life where I felt nothing but an emptiness and pain. And remember, I was 13 years old, feeling like this. I haven't even experienced anything. At this stage, I think I was like a year or two into my secondary school experience, and I was already feeling so desperate to die. So I felt all these fibres pull at me, tugging at me, telling you you're not good enough, you're never going to find someone. I tried to throw myself in front of ongoing traffic that day. So in my head, it was fast and painless, an easy way out, the coward's way out, if you want to say something like that. But my friends grabbed me, in a literal sense, they literally grabbed me by the collar and pulled me back onto the pavement. They started to talk about my family and what the future could hold for me, telling me how young I was and how this isn't right to feel this way. And for the first time since I felt lost and confused and wanting all this pain to just evaporate like that, I felt a tiny flicker of hope in my heart. Maybe I could continue moving forward and bettering myself. But sadly, battling depression solo is much harder than it looks. So that's when my mum found out and immediately tried to arrange an appointment with CAMHS. For those that do not know CAMHS is a child and adolescent mental health service which attempts to help young children who suffer. Emphasis on attempts, because you can't exactly say they're always successful. As a lot of people will know with CAMHS, it's not an always successful process. With me, it's kind of half and half. It was successful, it was not. I know of some people it didn't help and it made them worse. And I know some people that were feeling much better off after going to therapy and going to nurses and doctors. But again, it varies from case to case. You can't say this depression's like that depression, because we'll all know that it's not that. It's not that. And that is where our second part of our story takes place. So, truth be told, if I never went to CAMHS and if I never sought therapy, I do not think I would be able to sit right here, make this video, and talk all about my mental health and my ongoing issues. Because before I went there, I was not always open about crap like this. I used to be so closed because of how lost I was. And I felt if no one heard my struggles, if no one could feel the pain or how lost and confused I was as just a kid, then I could just ignore them and push forward. But if you suffer from depression, like yours truly, you know this actually makes things go the complete opposite way. You start to fall deeper into the abyss. I was passed around a few doctors and nurses when I first started off, like in the first month. Most was just not caring about my mental health or even wanting to make progress to continue my case further. And a lot of the people there don't really have the patience for you because they believe they are mightier, they have all the information. So when we don't do exactly as their little book says, they don't want to continue. They don't want to try and help a hard-headed patient or just a closed patient like I was. But that was until I got an amazing lady, an amazing nurse by the name of Claire. I won't say her surname because I don't want to out her. But she was a fucking saint to me. I am glad we didn't settle for the shit people that were put in place for us and said apparently these were the best. They weren't the fucking best at anything. I would not even let them tie my bastard in shoes, they were that shit. But again, I digress. She genuinely cared for the well-being of her patients and wanted to help better us. I came across as detached and void of all personality when I first, went to these sessions. Since this was the very peak of my depression, of course. But as days turned into weeks, into months, I slowly started seeing her more frequently and slowly opened up to her about my mental state and how I've been feeling since I first discovered I wanted to kill myself. Telling her how lost I felt and how alone I was. I felt an overwhelming weight pushed down on my chest, and anytime that weight got too much, it broke me. So I told her about the thoughts in my head, what I thought on a day-to-day basis, where it would be day, afternoon, night, showering, eating a sandwich, whatever it was. I told her how I felt during those periods of time, how I wanted to grab a knife and jam it into my throat, how anytime I went for a bath, I wanted to hold my head underneath the water and let the water fill my lungs. But as I embraced these feelings and got them out in the open, I started doing good. Really good, in fact, that I started coming back on how many times I would see her, like in a week. From her advice, of course. Because she wouldn't just see, for example, if I said, oh, I'm starting to feel better, she wouldn't just let you off. She would have to see it herself. So you can't just lie to her. Unless you're a really good liar. Well, I was doing good. I started coming back. That wasn't until my mum came into the session with me. And she didn't do that ever. The only time she did that was the first session, so I could get settled in. So I started to feel nervous. Because as that very week, I noticed something was missing from my room. And the thing that was missing was my suicide note. I wrote my suicide note that week, detailing how sorry I am for being such a shit son, a shit person, a shit... Just my mind being so crap that I felt I needed to apologize for that. So, in it, I said how I am so sorry, but I can't keep living my life like this. I can't keep living like I want to fucking die. There's no life to wanting to die all the fucking time. Everyone I could think of in my life, I listed on that note. So they would know it's no one's fault but mine for feeling this way. I buried that note in a box in my room. It was just like a Lego box or a toy box or something. I remember grabbing it and shoving it deep into the dark abyss of that box. So no one could know. So I could only use it when I was ready to go through with what I needed to do. But when I went to look for it the other day, it wasn't there. My mum found it and was now talking to my therapist about this. And ever since that day, after seeing how scared the people around me were, how fucking terrified they were, because they thought today they had a son, tomorrow they'd have a fucking corpse in their bedroom. So ever since that day, I swear to myself that I would start taking this shit more seriously. As much as I wanted to die, as much as the pain filled my lungs, I had to keep fucking going for the sake of the people around me. So, I kept trying to better myself as years went by, and it was never fucking easy. I'm not going to sit here and say it was a cakewalk, and just seeing everyone sad around me was enough for me to change my life around. It wasn't. It was a painful fucking battle. It was a struggle, and a lot of bad shit has happened since then, and a lot of bad shit's going to keep happening after. But I gotta keep fucking moving on. I gained a shit ton of weight and started beating myself up, which led me to a path of dieting to lose that extra weight, because people would bully me in school, which made me cut back on going to school. I didn't go to school for like a whole year because of this fucking shit. After 3 years, and I was finally in college, my therapist came into the college to see me, because sometimes to do personal visits like in college or in the house or whatever. But she came into the college, and I remember they just wanted to check up on my progress, how I was doing in the college experience. But essentially, my therapist believed there was no need for me to continue coming to see her. She felt she'd done all she could for me, and that I was much more happier and confident in myself, and I believed that. I really fucking did. But who the fuck was I trying to kid, believing that I, a fucking terrible suicidal dickhead, would obtain a happy ending just like that? So, this is a really fucking hard one to talk about. And you obviously have noticed I keep looking down and I'm not making direct eye contact And that's because I have a script. And I'm obviously reading off that because I don't want to trip over my own words. And I have to talk about it in a certain way that makes me happy and comfortable. But this I didn't write down. So this is off the cuff, me just speaking from my heart. Because I don't know how to write this down. I don't know how to tell people this because no one knows about this. The shit I've told you before, people knew about. Therapists, friends, fucking my family. But this, I haven't told a single soul. So you guys are the first people to find this out. And it's terrifying. That's why I have fucking whiskey here, which is going to make this last part harder for people to understand. So this is going to be a shit show to try and explain. But, okay. So, as lockdown happened, I started to pick up a couple things. A little bit of nicotine here and there. A little bit of beer here and there. Never liked beer, drank it anyway, just out of boredom. But, as lockdown continued, the pressure continued to pile on of when we would be free, when I would feel better in myself, when I would feel like me again. But my depression hit like a fucking train against a brick wall. My all this work I did in my therapy sessions, all this work I put the fucking time in for it all to crumble because of fucking lockdown. And basically, I started drinking. It was simple, just a little whiskey here and there, because I've always been into whiskey ever since my uncle brought me into it from a very young age, like 11 or 12. Again, don't worry about it. But I was fine. And I'm not a person that drinks a lot. I only drink socially. That's kind of me. I don't smoke unless it's socially. I don't do weed unless it's socially. I don't drink unless it's socially. But 18, I just went through a breakup at the time. And lockdown was clamping my balls. So with the combination of breaking up with my long-term girlfriend of like a year, I think, and lockdown being extended, my fucking mental barrier started collapsing all around me. And I didn't know what to fucking do. So I started to drink. A little bit there, a little bit here. But as I continued, I started needing it. In a way of, I started drinking to forget my problems. I'm not saying I got rat-faced drunk, but I drink to fucking forget. Anytime I felt shit in myself as a person, every time I felt shit because of how things ended with my girlfriend, I drank. And that's all I fucking did. Water, fuck that. Drink. Whiskey. And that's when I started fucking drinking it on the rocks. I started to take shots of whiskey. I take it on the rocks. I tried it fucking everywhere. Rum and whiskey combined. Beer even for a little extra tan. Just so I could get more pissed so fucking quickly. So I would have to forget about my struggles. And no one should have to live that way. No one should have to live their life off of a substance to forget about their issues instead of facing them on. And there's so many times I want to pick up the phone and call my nurse and be like, yo, I'm fucked up. I really need a session fucking quickly. I'm scared what I'm going to fucking do when I'm cutting up a fucking vegetable in the kitchen and I'm wanting to stab myself in the fucking wrist. And I was terrified of myself. For probably the first time in fucking years. I was terrified. I was so scared of what I'd do if I was alone. I started fucking getting an irrational fear of darkness. Because I felt there's shit in the dark that's going to make me want to just fucking end it. I started getting terrified. And if it wasn't for that mutt over there, I love her really, I don't know if I'd still be here. She's not a support dog or anything like that, but she kind of has been for me. And as much as I bully her and just make her put her in front of the screens all the time, I love her to death because she is the reason I'm still fucking breathing. I was terrified, I was just scared of being me, and the only way to get rid of that in my head was the booze. Drink whiskey to forget. Drink beer to fucking forget. All I wanted to do was forget my problems. And I don't know. I don't know now. Now I'm so fucking confused. Because my depression is hitting even harder now. And I'm scared. I'm fucking terrified of myself. I don't have a drinking problem now, or I don't have a necessity for it, but I'm terrified of me now. I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow, the day after that. I don't know where my life is. I used to have fucking goals. I used to want to be a fucking scriptwriter. I want to write scripts. I want to work in the fucking film industry. And now I'm lost. I'm fucking terrified of myself and what I'm going to do when I'm alone and at my worst. Maybe one day Donna won't be there to be that emotional support I need. So what's going to happen? You're going to find me here, bleeding out on the floor. Can't do shit. But the point of this is to show you guys. This isn't to sugarcoat it. This isn't to say, oh, I went to therapy. I'm much better now. No. I was better. And I was good. And I don't regret going to therapy. Therapy was good for me. It made me the person I am today. But it doesn't take away your pain forever. Sometimes it can. Sometimes it genuinely is a long-term support for a lot of people. And I'm so fucking happy and grateful in the system CAMS has provided for other people that have gone through a good fucking experience and are fucking thriving now. They didn't fail me one bit. They did their fucking job. I'm just failing them, basically. But I also want to add on is, I know I've done a couple drunk streams and I also put that little shot icon in the Twitch and stuff. I want to just reassure everyone, in case people start fucking freaking out if you ever see me drinking on stream. Those are okay. The reason for that is I'm doing that for fun. I'm doing that for content. I'm doing that to have a fucking good time and just provide you guys with a nice environment. Me drinking during lockdown when I was like 18, 17, I done that to forget. I didn't do that for fun. I didn't do that for my friends. I did that to forget about every fucking issue I had. That's why I did it. So these streams are for fun. These are not me trying to forget what I've done, who hurt me, or I don't know. I really fucking don't know. And I wanted to make this video so people can know how fucking serious this shit is. How guys are always told throughout their life, man the fuck up. Stop being a pussy. Stop acting fucking feminine. All that shit. And it fucking frightens us and puts us down to a bit where we feel like we can't come out to anyone about how we feel. Whether it's a woman or a guy. We just don't believe we can come forward about this. Because men shouldn't have emotions. They should work until they're fucking dead and buried. And provide for their family. But that's not the fucking case anymore. We now have the chance. Our generation's the fucking greatest generation out there. And I fucking believe that with hand to heart, our generation is the fucking best out there. Because we're the most progressive, we're the most educative, and we're the fucking most... Fuck. We are the most that want to fucking learn from our mistakes. And I want to be one of the people at the fucking front of the line pushing this to people so people understand this is a fucking problem. Let's fucking talk about this and see how we can help each other. That's what I want to fucking do in my life. That is what I've always wanted to do. And people need to start fucking showing their support to men, women, fucking every cunt everywhere. Because we all have our baggage. We all suffer from shit. From people thinking they're better than us. We're not any fucking more. We have a chance. We all have a chance to speak our fucking minds and tell the fucking world, this is how I feel. This is how we can solve the fucking problem. Let's fucking deal with it. No beating around the bush. Just, here's the issue. Let's sort it right fucking now. But, as much as I can rant on forever, that's where my story comes to an end for now. I'm still living my life. I'm still depressed as fuck. But I'm battling through. Every day's a struggle. Every day I don't want to live. And that's just the fucking truth. People help me feel better though. People make me forget about that. From just talking to me, from interacting with me on timelines or in person. Just fucking sitting, talking. Not even about me. Just about just us. And then, this was a really fucking hard video to do. And I was terrified. And honestly, it was a bit of touch and go if I was actually going to do this. But I made promises to too many people. I said, I'm going to be the one to bring your stories to life. And it's not fair me not doing that. My stories come to an end. Other men's stories are about to begin. So please don't click off the video yet. Do not fucking do it yet. We still have a little bit to go. So please listen. But before I do that, a big fucking thank you to the artist on Twitter, Moon, who made these dope ass fucking animations just to have a bit of more spark to my depression episodes, and to Blank on Twitter as well. Their ats or pictures are somewhere on screen. Blank also made the thumbnail. Both links will be in description. And yeah, thank you guys for fucking doing that. You guys are fucking awesome. I hope this wasn't out your comfort zones or anything, doing some depression shit. But on screen, there will be some fucking numbers saying who you can call for some help on your suicidal tendencies or your thoughts or anything like that. Because no one, whether it's men, women, or fucking anything, none of us should suffer in silence. But with that, thank you all for listening and giving me a platform to tell you how I fucking feel. And thank you for giving these lovely men a platform to say how they feel and their own stories. So thank you for watching. And now let's go on to the other men's stories.
The kid who was determined to always win. The kid who never accepted defeat. The kid who was always so positive was the kid who suffered painful loss, and the more he knew about the world, the more he dissolved with it. The loss of an innocent mind, the loss of a positive perspective, the loss of confidence beaten out of him by the minds that have already lost. It ruined him. His brain slowly eroded with pains of reality after months and months of suffering. Leaving this world was his only thought, but the thought was greedy. The thoughts of all the ones who loved him, the ones who left him for their own sake, the ones that betrayed and punished, the ones who mocked, the ones who wanted to help. And it would take one more step for it to all go away. The consequence would make the caring suffer, so there's no point, right? He could have went to see the ones he cries so much about again, but the one positive thing he learned was that there's always something to live for. Hope grabbed him by the hand, and she said, with time, you'll recover. With time, you'll find inner happiness. And with time, your inner spark will shine again. You all have a place in this world. Keep fighting.
So firstly, I spent 3 years on antidepressants. I can't really remember the name of it, but I was on them from my last year of school to kind of the last year, second to last year of college, and did help out a lot. But when I came off them, I felt fine, so there's no need to go back on them. So I've been off them now for just over a year, kind of like a year and a half. As well as having depression, I also have anxiety. In my work, we have to do kind of safety briefing things, and in my work you get called bands, so we have to do a call off through a microphone through all the speakers so everyone can hear. We have to do a call off the bands and stuff, so I kind of struggle doing that with my anxiety. Like I can't, if I know someone or a lot of people can hear me, I kind of struggle to do stuff. So yeah, with kind of speaking through a microphone, like I can do it like, through YouTube and stuff, but when I know people are listening, I kind of struggle to do it. So I think the main reason that's kind of causing my mental health and anxiety is the fact that I isolate myself quite a lot. I would say, obviously, when I'm not at work or when I was at college or anything, but I'm in my room probably about 75% to 80% of the time. The only time I go out my room is to go to the toilet or make food or maybe go a walk with the dog or something, but usually I'm in my room. So I don't kind of talk to a lot of people. As I say, I kind of isolate myself. Kind of 3 things that help me. So firstly, having interaction with friends. So even like me and Charlie and Joe used to the podcast, which we're bringing back. So kind of like just speaking even over Discord or a call or something to my friends, or obviously going out and doing something like going to the cinema or going to play pool or have drinks or something. Helps a lot. Also kind of music. This kind of goes, the last 2 points kind of mix with each other. So listening to music helps me a lot. I usually listen to kind of sadder music, which you thought would maybe not help, but for me it does. And last, like even just going out a walk can help. So I would listen. I kind of mix, as I say, the last 2 points. So I would listen to music and go walk. Walking my dog or just going to walk myself, or maybe just going to the shops even would help. The fact that I'm saying like that music and go and walk helps me. I guess it's kind of the same reason that people play games. Like I obviously enjoy playing games, but like music and going a walk is a form of escapism. So yeah, it's quite good. So there's a few wee things of me just telling you how I kind of struggle with mental health, but also I kind of cope with it at the same time. So yeah, thank you for listening.
While I have not had to battle with depression, I have had my ups and downs. Finding to find motivation while having such difficult expectations on me starts to take a toll when all I do is attempt to please those around me. It is also hard to find people to talk to, trying not to crack while still trying to find someone to trust. I never want to annoy someone with my problems or make them think that I am weak for not being able to handle it myself.
I think my story with depression is nothing different than a lot of other people's. I didn't have a million friends growing up, and the people I wanted to be close to were always close to other people. That would lead to self-isolation, second-guessing myself, all of the familiar beats I think people have heard before. I think where my story differs is how my depression pushed me towards online content creation and mildly successful YouTube channel. I think I can say that. When I first started posting videos, I was in a very low moment in my life. I had just come home from college where I did not have many friends. My partner had just cheated on me, and I was not feeling creatively, creatively inspired. I went to a film school, but it was very much a nepotism club where only the popular kids who hated women and did cocaine were ever successful. And those were not circles I ran with. And I think being pushed to that low moment is what I think I needed, because I then said, you know what, this isn't working. I can't be inside alone anymore and going nowhere with my passion. So I did it myself. I bought a camera. I started talking about things that I saw online that I had opinions about. And I was able to convert the feelings of deep depression into creativity. And I know it's a very hard formula to replicate, and I don't think I could ever teach someone how to do it. I don't even know how I did it, but anytime I start to feel depressed, I fight like hell to convert it into inspiration and drive, because that, I think, is the most successful way that I've learned how to deal with it.
I belong in a pretty neat family. Mom and dad love each other very much. Brother is annoying, but we still vibe regardless. All of them got their own ups and downs, but that's all cool. I'm no different from them, though I will say I am dishonest to them about something. I rarely open up to anyone, and when I do it, it comes with a heavy cost. Pretty much just me being a very trusting person. It's a mistake that I often repeat from time to time. But even lately, trusting someone, even though it's a person that I've known for years, something I don't do much. I'm mainly quiet about my depression and rarely talk about it to anyone. This is due to me over time adjusting to the belief that no one will have any care about me or about whatever I had to say. I have friends who have been with me through thick and thin, and I appreciate every one of them for the love and care they give, even though I never really asked for it. Well, though I guess that's the point. And I honestly feel terrible about it, because at the end of it all, I still found myself to be struggling. Absolutely restless from all the haunting shit that my mind is attacked with. I've been through a lot, and they've taken a toll on my mentality. I wish they never happened, and I wish it never happened to me. But it happens to everyone, and wishing for that shit. Life's not always like that, sadly. On the bright side, dealing with it, although gradual, helped to really look at myself a little more clearer every time it happens. I'm aware of my ambition, of my dreams and my goals, but even with knowing what I want in life, I'm not too certain in knowing who I am as a person. I know. Crisis. Which is why I'm hoping that in my long journey of achieving my ambitions, I'll be able to find or at least see clearly who I already am as a person. It's all a matter of finding it all out myself. Throughout the 20 years of, 21, I just turned 21 not long ago. But throughout the years of my life I've lived so far, this same old advice that keeps getting thrown around the mouths of people I know has actually, and weirdly enough, somehow managed to be true. Not everyone gets to that point at the same pace, but one thing's for sure, if you know what you want and you know what to do, eventually things really do get better.
Hello, you guys will know me as CarterNova or CarterNova X on Twitter. I am 21 and I'm in my third year of college. I've been struggling with my mental health for about 7 to 8 years now, so over a third of my life I've had the official diagnosis of depression and anxiety, but I want to say that I really started to feel it, God, even earlier than that, probably in like elementary school, so maybe about 2/3 of my life that I definitely say that I've been, in this fight. This past week, in November 25th, was my first full year that I've gone without self-harm or attempting suicide. So we're making big progress, and it's a lot that I'm very grateful for. I've met a lot of really awesome people and found a whole lot more reasons to keep pushing on in this past year. One of the things that I really struggled with in the beginning was learning how to seek help, and I still struggle with this quite a bit. I was born and raised in Texas, and I very much came from an environment that was men are not supposed to feel feelings. My mom all the time would tell me about how her favorite thing about my dad is how he never showed his emotions. And he always was able to bottle it down. And as a kid, I very much wanted to embody that. I wanted to be emotionless. I wanted to be stoic. And so I did not allow myself to feel any emotions other than, well, really anger, I guess. I mean, that was the most masculine thing, was to be angry. And I, for years, was like that. And I think in the more recent years is when I started to realize that, I was tired of being angry, and I wanted to let that anger go. I wanted to seek more to life than that. And what I ultimately ended up finding is that I had been using this anger as a shield all my life. I had let so many of my toxic traits and things that I really needed to have dealt with just linger around because I wasn't really ever taught how to deal with them. And so, I'm here today, still trying to figure out how to deal with all these things. I definitely live with a lot less anger, and I'm very grateful for that, but that anger is turned to sadness, I'd say. Definitely a lot of sadness a lot of the time. And I've been working, got the help that I need, still working to get the help that I need to figure out how I can take that sadness and turn it more into just good vibes, whenever I can, however I can. One thing that I've definitely learned, and I think it's important for everyone to know this, is that life is full of ups and downs. But life does get better. In some capacity, life does get better. And if things are not looking good, then that means that they're just not over yet, which is the most unfortunate part of it, because you gotta, get through the thing. But I've definitely come to realize that I'm so thankful that I'm still here. I'm so happy that I'm still around, because there's so many amazing things that have happened to me. And when I think back to the times where I got so close to wrapping everything up, and I think about all the things that happen after that, it gives me the strength to push on. Sometimes, I really get down there, and I really, really am ready to give up, and it takes everything in me to keep going. But I keep going. And I'm just some guy, There's nothing special about me. There's nothing inherently, amazing or incredible about my resilience or my persistence. I'm just some guy who got tired of being sad all the time and decided to do something about it. And that's really kind of where it all started for me, And so, if there's anything that whoever's listening to this can take away, you got this. Just keep going at it. You got it. Alright, I'm gonna stop talking. Thank you.